All right, welcome everybody to tonight's live. We are going to be talking about contrast training today, something that I really love to do when I'm out here working with my dogs. While we let people file in and while we make sure that all of our technology is working, our audio and video, I'm just going to walk over here and check our comments and see if y'all can leave me a comment and let me know that y'all can see and hear everything well. And then when my assistant... All right, we've already got comments that say that y'all can see and hear. Awesome. So while we wait for people to get the notification that we've gone live and get in here, there's one thing that I wanted to show you guys first. So I'm going to come over here and share my other iPad screen. And all right, I got another sounds good from inside. Hello from New Zealand. All right, so really quickly, I just wanted to let you guys know if you've been to a lot of our stuff, been to our website quite a few times, then this is going to look very unfamiliar to you because we have completely redesigned our website recently, and it just went live yesterday with yesterday's podcast. So whether you are new or old, a great place to start on this new website is to start with this Get Help that's right here on the main screen at baddogagility.com. And we've designed this to really take all of the information that we have on our site. We have over 250 podcasts. We've been podcasting for years. We have articles, we have videos, and to really go through and get the absolute best things to help you in the problems that you're likely to encounter in agility. So I'm going to click on that Get Help button, and you're going to see that what we've done is we've created 8 areas of information. So we have drive, motivation, and focus. We have start lines. We have weave pulls, handling, contact obstacles, tugging, mental game, and puppy. And each of these is a guide to the best information that we have on our site for that topic area. So I'm going to let you guys decide. We're just going to go look at one of these and let me know out of these 8 areas which one you're most interested in. So we have drive, motivation, and focus, start lines, weave pulls, handling, and when I see just anything pop up, I'm gonna go for it. Contact obstacles, tugging, mental game, and puppy. So Isaac, you let me know when we get some responses there on what people are interested in seeing. But these guides are, we have one per topic area. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Diane says it looks awesome. All right, somebody says handling. That's the first one that I see. Oh, and drive. All right, I'll do handling and drive. So if we go down here to handling, click on this. We have just some general information about handling with some links in here to some information about handling in general. And of course there's more, but this gives you a start. And so for all of you instructors out there, if you are looking to gather up some resources for students, this may help you find stuff a little bit easier. This is also at the top bar under Learn. We have the same 8 areas, and you can still get to everything we've ever done by going to all posts. So here we have yesterday's podcast, consistent contact criteria, and proofing for dog agility. But we really want to give that nice solid start for people that are coming with a specific problem. We also have, let's see, we have things broken down by how you can consume them. So here's the podcast. If you go to that, that's going to be just our podcast. The watch is just our Facebook Lives. The Learn is basically everything else, articles and videos, and then information about our online courses. And of course, you can always search on the site, and we've made that a little bit more prominent here with some popular search terms that you can click on to, again, see the stuff that we have on our site under that search term. So we hope that this helps you guys really find all of the resources that are there, and we will be updating that as we have like a new live that falls into one of those categories, then we'll slot it in. All right, so now we're going to go back to live video here. Let me put down my iPad, and now we're ready to get into contrast training. And I think if you can just keep an eye on the comments as well and let me know if there's anything in particular that people have questions with. So what do I mean by contrast training? When I put out just the Facebook Live announcement, there were questions about, well, I've never heard of contrast training, or I'm not sure what that is, or that has a meaning in weightlifting, but probably means something different here in agility. So what I mean when I talk about contrast training is I like to show my dog various options for a setup to really test that they are paying attention to me. So if you've been in agility for a while, you have probably run into a situation where you were working on an exercise at class or outside and your dog struggled. And you worked through that struggle and your dog got it right. And you thought, great, I overcame this particular handling challenge, I worked through it, and now my dog knows it. And then you go and your instructor changes up the numbers and you run, and your handling is different, but your dog keeps doing that first thing that you were working on. And what they learned was not the handling, what they learned was, today I go in the right side of the tunnel, or today I go into the left side of the tunnel. That's the correct side because I went into the right and I didn't get rewarded, and then once I figured it out, I went into the left and I got rewarded, and now I figured it out, it's the left tunnel. And so it actually is a little bit like, when we think about it, contrast training is a little bit like proofing and a little bit like generalization. We're saying it is not that you are going into the left tunnel every single time. Today you're going into the left tunnel because of my handling that is going to tell you to go into the left tunnel. But on a different day, I may want you to go in the right tunnel, and this is how my handling will look when I want you to go into the right tunnel. And so what we have is a sequence, and we're going to start the sequence the exact same way, over and over and over. And then we are going to vary obstacles 3 and 4 to really test our dog's understanding and that they are listening to us. I also like to call this anti-patterning. So sometimes patterning can be useful when we're trying to help our dog understand something, but at the end of the day, they've got to get it on the first shot based on your handling. And so this is the anti-pattern. We're going to show them a similar opening, change up the ending, and the only thing that they're going to have to go on is our handling. So in the sequence that we have up here, we're going to, I have 8 different ways to handle this, 8 different numberings. For every number, there's also different handling options that you can do. The other reason that I love contrast training is because it is very an efficient use of your time, because you set up one thing and you get to work on different numberings, different skills for each numbering, and you're like doubly testing your dog's understanding every step of the way. So you can get a lot of training done in a shorter period of time with less setup by using contrast training. So we're going to take this in 2s, because what we have here is a sequence where 1 and 2 are the same. I'm going to come out here for a second. I started with a cone start. You could make that a jump, but this lets us condense the size down a little bit. We're going to start with a cone start, and then here's jump 1 and jump 2. We're going to change what we do at number 3, and then for every change that we make at 3, we're running it 2 ways for each of the tunnel entrances. So it's always going to be 3 into a tunnel, and we're going to do both tunnels, and we're going to test our dog that way. So in the demos, I'm going to do them in pairs, where we're going to do where 1, 2, 3 are the same, and then the number 4 tunnel changes from exercise to exercise. And I'm actually going to use video that I taped earlier, because it is just too hot to ask my dog to work out here right now. So let's start by putting up the map, the first map. So this is exercise number 1. So you can see it's just, all it is a pinwheel into a tunnel. So just jump, 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 tunnel. And then exercise number 2, we're simply going to change the tunnel entrance. And for the demo video, I'm going to show you exercise 1, and then it'll be exercise 1 in slow motion, and then exercise 2 and exercise 2 in slow motion. So here we have just 1, 2, 3 into the tunnel. Nice and easy. Great. Slow motion here. And now here we have a tunnel discrimination. We want to do the other tunnel. For my handling, this is going to be a threadle into the tunnel. So here, 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 tunnel. All right, and yes, you are going to have a PDF of the course plan. In fact, I'll go ahead and put this up here, and we'll bring that back several times throughout here. But if you want to get the PDFs for this that has all 8, you go to baddogagility.com/contrast2020. It turns out we did a live on a little bit on contrast training a couple of years ago, which you can find on the new website using the search. So Contrast 2020. So that was the first 2 exercises. Go ahead and take the graphic off, but leave me up. Thank you. That was the first 2 exercises. So really kind of the most straightforward of the number 3 options. 1, 2, 3 ended up being a pinwheel. It is a little bit difficult on the tunnel discrimination out here because this jump ends up kind of being in your way. You have to get around this jump, and then it's a little bit in your way getting to that far tunnel entrance. So it really does test your tunnel discrimination. For me, it's a very trained, very verbal skill, but for a lot of people, they end up having to really kind of overpull their dog to this tunnel entrance, and this jump would make that difficult. So that adds a little bit of a challenge element here to getting that far end of the tunnel. So in the next 2 exercises, we're going to go to the back side of that number 3 jump. So the number 3 jump is still that far jump, but we're going to go to the back side. And when we look at this option, because it's a back side, it opens up a lot more choice, because you have the option as they come to the backside of going to the dog going to the left and back to the tunnel, or going to the right and back to the tunnel. Because this is about contrast training and not about the choice, I didn't run all of these, but what I chose to do was going into this end of the tunnel, I chose to threadle to the backside here and give my dog this straight shot into that tunnel, which I think is probably the faster option for that. Is the sound still good when I'm out here? Awesome. And then when I wanted my dog to go to this side of the tunnel, since that side of the tunnel is maximally far from turning in that direction, I did choose to do the loop-de-loop wrap. It's a very challenging sequence here, again, because of this jump is right there, but so it is really going to challenge the dog listening to you. This is going to be a pretty advanced exercise, but the way that I do that is I'm going to blind cross here. I did a loop-de-loop wrap, blind cross again, and now my dog has a straight shot into that tunnel, and he's not going to take this because I don't cue it. Now, Isaac, go ahead and put up the map, the 3rd map. All right, we have that up on the screen. Okay. So here we are, backside into the far tunnel entrance. And again, the only thing we're going to change is the tunnel. So backside to the near tunnel entrance. And here is the demo. So there's the threadle to the backside of the jump and then right into the tunnel. And now here comes the blind, right into the backside wrap, blind, and into the tunnel. And in slow motion. All right, back on me, Isaac. So those were our So that was number 3 and number 4 in terms of our contrast exercises. And you can see how many different handling skills we get to play with out here on this one little sequence. 4 jumps in a tunnel in a 50 by 50 space. We've worked on our tunnel discrimination, our threadle cue, our threadle to a slice. We've worked on a blind cross, a loop-de-loop into a blind cross, with off-course traps everywhere. So we've gotten a lot of agility training done in this sequence. And if any point your dog messes up, you need to go look at your video. Highly recommend you video this and see, was I making my handling different enough from exercise to exercise? The other great thing about contrast training is that it kind of opens your eyes to all the possibilities that are there on course. It can be easy sometimes to you as the human to look at the course with the numbers and to only see the numbers and not to see the other jumps that the dog is going to see. The dog doesn't have any numbers. And so occasionally there will be a course where something will catch people off guard. Sometimes it'll catch a lot of people off guard because they'll say, I didn't even see that tunnel out there, because that tunnel was part of another part of the course. It wasn't part of what you were doing there, and you just didn't even see that your dog was going to be looking straight at it, and that your motion to the backside of a jump was going to also support that tunnel. So contrast training will kind of train you to look at a layout and see all the different possibilities, and then think to yourself, if to get my dog through the correctly numbered sequence, let's say you're at a trial, to get my dog through the correctly numbered sequence, how can I make sure that that looks different from any of the off-course possibilities that are around at that point of the course? So it's really great exercise. Somebody had the question, how do you get your dog into the far end of the tunnel? So for me, if my dog is on a line for an end, whatever end my dog is naturally on a line for, that is just tunnel. And I'm going to run towards that tunnel and support it. And then if I need to bring my dog off of the line that he's on towards me to a different tunnel entrance, I use threadle handling, so that becomes here tunnel. And so that's what you saw on those first couple of exercises, was the tunnel versus the here tunnel handling. Okay, and then we did the second 2. All right, so now for the, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 5th and the 6th. So put up the 5th map. All right, there we go. So now we're going to make 3 this middle jump, the one that kept getting in our way this whole time. We're going to make 3 the middle jump, and we're going to go up to the top tunnel entrance, and then we're going to go down to the near entrance. And I'm just looking through some of these comments. I'll come back and look at those comments in just a second, and we'll get through these last 4 exercises. So here we're going to look at it, and this is where there's a lot of different handling options, and I'm going to show you what I chose. So a little bit of decel there. I don't want him to go too far there, but I need to really trust his backside so I can get a little bit more lateral out of his landing spot and be driving towards that near tunnel entrance. You can see I'm going to make sure that my shoulder is back to him there to make sure that he stays on that right hand. And then here the only difference is I give him that threadle cue for, I would call this like a threadle cue for consistency. So I'm saying come to this near tunnel entrance, here's the threadle into the tunnel, and he understands that really well. Of course, go ahead and put me back on screen. Of course, we also have the option of handling number 3 from the other side of number 3. So, so doing something like getting our dog over 1 and 2, and front crossing out here to put our dog over the jump and into the tunnel. If I did that, this would no longer be a here tunnel, because now I'm on this side, and that becomes the here tunnel. Now, of course, this is is my handling of tunnel discrimination, so yours may be different. But that is how I would treat this particular sequence. Okay, so we talked about the 2 maps. We did the demos too, right? Yes, of those. All right, so down to the last options. Isaac, go ahead and put the first one on the screen of the last 2. Okay, and so now you could probably have guessed we're going to switch the side of the jump that number 3 is on and go to the 2 different tunnel entrances. So far tunnel entrance, near tunnel entrance, and the handling that I'm going to use here is going to be a threadle from 2 to 3. So here we go. So here, threadle to 2, and then I really have to push to 3. Push to that tunnel entrance, and I didn't particularly like how that felt. I did get far enough ahead on my threadle to be able to be driving to the far tunnel entrance, but I didn't like it a lot, and so I also did a front cross into a push, and then that changed that tunnel entrance to be a here tunnel because now I'm on the opposite side. So I did a front cross, push to the back side, and then a threadle into the tunnel. So that was just another option for that 7th exercise. And then here we're going to go to the near tunnel entrance, so it becomes threadle tunnel. It becomes threadle jump, threadle tunnel. So here, over here, tunnel. Yeah, somebody mentioned blind at number 3, a dog on left going into the tunnel. There are lots of different handling options here. Back on me, Isaac. Lots of different handling options for all this, and I would explore them. But the overarching theme here is this is what we mean by contrast training. Showing your dog different handling, not different, so there's different handling options as in here's a sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can do it with the front cross, a rear cross, a blind cross. That's also great training. But this is a little bit different in that you are going to change the actual jumping order to really make sure that the only thing your dog is doing is paying attention to your handling. There's nothing else that can predict what number 3 and number 4 are because you're changing it every single time. And this is how we're going to get a lot of understanding from our dogs very, very quickly. I think that pattern training can be really helpful in the initial teaching phase of a particular handling sequence. You build on the fact that your dog isn't completely confident that they're doing the right thing, but over repetitions and over rewarded repetitions, they understand. But then you've got to add in contrast training to proof that your dog is not just learning that particular layout that day, but is actually learning the handling. Things that are great to contrast against each other and things that we contrast against each other all the time. Acceleration and deceleration. So a contrast training can be as simple as 3 jumps in a row, and sometimes you wrap back after number 2 with a strong deceleration. Sometimes you go 1, 2, 3, full extension. That's contrast training. A front side versus a back side. So anywhere on a sequence, you have your dog take the obstacle forward, and then another time you may push them to the back side and have them take the back side. Serpentine versus threadle. Same layout of jumps. Okay, is the one's coming out here? We're good? All right. Same layout of jumps, different dog path, and you challenge your dog on those different options. If you want this PDF, Isaac put up the URL for the thing. So the PDF that has all 8 of these options for you to work on is at baddogagility.com/contrast2020. And now we'll take a look at questions. Yes?
You have 100 more people now. If you want to take them through the website, just very quick, not the exact same way, but just show them one more time.
Okay.
And then you want me to get Hannah for the joke?
Sure. All right, we have Hannah coming for the joke. As Stefan said, we've got a lot more people now than we did at the very beginning, so we're going to take a brief interlude here and just let the newcomers know about the changes that we've made to the website. I will be much more brief, but let me figure out how to share that. right here and take that off. Thank you. So for those of you who weren't here at the very beginning, just yesterday we completely changed our website. So if you've been going to our website for a long time and you clicked on yesterday's podcast, you were probably like, whoa, what happened? The reason we did that was that we really wanted to make it easy for you to find the information that fixes your agility problem. So we have this big button on the front page, so baddogagility.com, this big button, Get Help, and this is a great place to start. And you know, once you've been there, you'll kind of learn your way around the site, but I think everybody should take a moment just to go through there and see what we have so that you know what's available, so that when a problem comes up, you can go quickly find it. And we've broken everything into 8 areas: drive, motivation, and focus, start lines, weave pulls, handling, contact obstacles, tugging, mental game, and puppy. And each of these has an article that pulls together some of the best stuff that we have. Not everything, but a great starting point. So if you just come to Bad Dog Agility and you're like, my problem right now is drive or motivation or focus or sniffing or whatever, any of those problems that fall under that category, you can start here. And then once you've gone through these materials, you can kind of search through the site for more stuff. But this is kind of where, if you came to us and said, what do you have on blah, this is the page that we would send you to that has our best stuff on there. And you can also get to that under this Learn. If you want to see everything we've ever done, you can still go to all posts and see all of the posts. And the search, you can enter your keywords, and we have some popular keywords here that will take you to the stuff that matches that keyword. One thing I did want to point out on the podcast page, just to make sure that people see it, is that the player, the actual sound player, is up here now on top of that photo. So that's where you're going to go to listen to the podcast. And of course, we are on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and we have our own app for the podcast. All right, back to me, Isaac. And then we're going to go ahead and let Hannah give you her little joke, since we're at the end of the demonstration portion. And then I'm going to go look through any of the comments, and we can talk about different handling options or whatever other questions you had. Hannah, what is your joke? And I've got my mic right here, so you got to kind of get close.
Why did the scarecrow get a promotion? Because he was outstanding in his field.
Outstanding in his field. Nice. Good one. Ba-dum-ching! So there's our joke for today. All right, now let's take a look at these questions. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay, just give me a minute, guys. If you had questions, I will get to them. Okay, here's where everybody was saying what they wanted to look at, and so y'all can go take a look at all the other handling and puppy and drive and weaving. Okay. Okay, I thought I saw that. German at number 3. Let me see. It was course number 2? Okay, thank you. Okay, Patricia said that mine memorized the sequence and the next day they want to run the same, even with different handling cues. Exactly. That's exactly what this training is meant to avoid. And yes, it does happen a lot with very smart dogs. Yes, I am the same voice from the podcast. So the podcasts are myself, Esteban, and Jennifer Crank is the third. Okay, so we talked about how to cue the far tunnel. Okay, German 3 at number 3 to get close to the tunnel entrance. So course 2, let me just remember what course 2 is here. Isaac, can you put the second course up on the screen? Okay, I think this is probably the second set. Okay, go ahead and put me back on, Isaac. I don't think that's the right map for a German term, but for number 3, I think the question was on the one where I did a threadle here to the backside and then turn and go to the tunnel. Could this be a German turn? Absolutely. You would come in here with the same blind that I did when I did the loop-de-loop wrap, but now it's a push to the backside, connect with the dog over the uprights, blind cross, and into the tunnel. So another great option for that particular handling. Let me go back and look at the comments. That's it? All right. So, okay. Let's see, figure out how to turn off this. There we go. And put this PDF download back up. All right, so if you want to set up this exact same sequence and try the 8 tries, there is the URL for that. And we will see you online. This is probably the last outdoor live that we're going to do. We're going to have some other live trainings next week, so keep your eye open for that in your email if you're on our mailing list. And I would encourage you to get on the mailing list so you get all the notifications for the lives, but it is getting quite hot here in the Houston summer, so I think this is your last out in the field for a little while, but we will continue to have some live trainings, and those will be next week. Happy training!